Avinu Makenu, Shabash Amayim, Barek et Ze Lamad. Our Father, our King, who art in heaven, bless this teaching. 1 Peter 2, 4 through 10 says, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of YHVH and precious. Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to YHVH by Yeshua HaMashiach. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of YHVH, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Well Water Ministry. It is YHVH Shabbat. You know, the prophet Isaiah called the Shabbat a delight. Miss Carrie and I agree. A day given only for pleasure to spend with our God. It is a time for reviewing and examining important lessons from YHVH's Torah with him. And I definitely agree with that, Jennifer. You see, Shabbat study provides food for thought. I most definitely agree with that. It's a pause. Listen to me, Vicky, in our brushwork of life, because you're an artist. You see, an artist cannot continuously wield their brush. The artist must stop. They must rest and reflect, refreshing their vision. And I agree with that. Sometimes I have to just sit back and stop and rest and refresh my mind. You see, Shabbat is a time for one to take a fresh look at one's life and what goals they have. And then after Shabbat, ready to take ourselves to the painting with cleared vision, a renewed energy. And I agree with that. You see, Shabbat prevents us from reducing our very life to that of a machine. The Shabbat is one of the glories of our humanity. It's a day of liberation. And we here at Well Water Ministry, we welcome it in by meeting before Shabbat and doing Kiddush, blessing the lighting of the candle, blessing the wine and the bread. We sing, we laugh, we eat, and fellowship amongst each other. And then, Daniel, we remember our exodus from Mitzrayim, from Egypt. Our sin, our trials, our tribulations are locked into this world. And we worship he who delivered us. Guys, it's not that we hold Shabbat so highly. It's that Shabbat holds us that highly. For our Elohim, our Creator, set day 7 apart for him and those who love him. Freeing us even just for one day from the chains of life. You see, the Shabbat liberates us from that old time clock and being the world's slave, resting on YHVH Shabbat, using it as a day for prayer, study, sharing, friendship, and the love of mishpat, of family. It's our way of ruling time rather than time ruling us. We seize control of the time of our lives. It becomes ours, and it sets us free. Our celebration of Shabbat, it's our declaration of freedom. You can have July the 4th. Give me Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. We are free. We are free. And it might just be for today. But praise YHVH, I need it. And Daniel, you know the great thing? YHVH, he needs it too. He has invited us to his house on Shabbat. So let's Shabbat. Let's get refreshed in YHVH. Pop test. Who remembers from last week the Hebrew word for refresh that we learned? Oh my. Nobody studied? Last week? Nafash. Yes. To breathe on. To refresh oneself. Oh, refresh us, Ruach HaKodesh. And allow YHVH to lead us. Fire by night, cloud by day. Manna from the sky, water from a rock. Deliverance from sin. Destination, a wedding in the garden. What a God we serve. And as we have watched Israel walk, literally, through the book of Shemot, Exodus, What a journey it's been, guys. You see, along this journey through Exodus, I've come to this realization. Exodus, Shemot, names, whatever you want to call, this book is by far my most favorite book in the Bible. What great teachings and lessons have we had? Bo and the locust. Beshalach, how he made our bitter water sweet. Torah, we are a living sanctuary that should build using his materials by his pattern. Tetzaveh, we must be that curious light. Katisa, that half shekel silver melted down coin of redemption and attachment, holding each other in the tabernacle. And now, Vahak'Hel and Pekudei, a double portion to end the book of Exodus. It's from Exodus 35:1 through 40:38. Vahak'Hel means he assembled. Pekudei, accounts. Now, here, in Vahak'Hel, Israel begins to build the tabernacle. But first, I want to do a quick walkthrough on the book of Exodus so we get everybody caught up to speed exactly where we're at. It starts with Israel enslaved in Egypt. A new Pharaoh, one who ignores what Joseph did and oppresses Israel. Moses is born and preserved, and he's raised in Pharaoh's house. Moses kills an Egyptian for hitting a Hebrew, and he flees to Midian and becomes a shepherd. How beautiful is that? Is there not just something about those shepherds that just excites you? You see, we see the burning bush. YHVH calls Moses and reveals his name, YHVH. YHVH sends Moses to Egypt to free Israel. And Moses, he confronts Pharaoh. And Moses and Aaron command Pharaoh, set YHVH's people free. He said no. And then we see what? The 10 plagues. Passover, the Exodus. Israel is redeemed by the Korban Pesach, the Passover lamb. And they leave Egypt. They cross the Red Sea. Then they're at Mount Sinai and the 10 Commandments. Materials gathered for building the tabernacle being built. And finally, after Israel builds the tabernacle, YHVH's glory comes down. And a cloud leads them by day and fire by night. They move only when YHVH moves. What a great idea, right? To move only when YHVH moves us. And when he stops, we should stop. What a journey for Israel. And tonight, I want to take us on a quick journey of from dead rocks to living stones. From dead rocks to living stones. So let's see. Just where was Israel at in chapter 1? And see where Israel is now at the end of Exodus. In chapter 1, we see Israel building Egypt. You might say dead rocks, building structures that will not last. No hope in sight. But by the end of Exodus, they are building what? A living, moving structure, the tabernacle. And each individual, no longer a dead rock, but a living, precious stone, following the word of YHVH. In chapter 1, Israel, they were slaves, chained into Mitzrayim, into their trials and tribulations, hearts broken. But here, at the end of this journey, Israel is free. And with their willing hearts, they teruma, they lift YHVH up, and he moves, and they follow. In chapter 1, Israel had no identity. They knew not who they were, strangers in a strange land. But here, at the end of their journey, they have found their identity. Israel, no longer strangers in a strange land serving other gods. Dead rocks, it's all they were. Dead rocks building dead structures. But now they are living stones, building YHVH's tabernacle. Their identity crisis is gone. They once were lost, but now they're found. You see, we must not mistake holiness with a permanent structure. This is not our home. We've seen the temple destroyed, but what Israel built here it will not be destroyed. The Gahal, the Ecclesia, the church, the assembly, whatever you want to call the gathering of YHVH's people, is not a dead rock structure. It's a living stone inside of us, a structural miracle made out of love from our Creator. How great is our God? Do you know one of the greatest attributes of our God, Heather? Even though we do, he cannot and he will not break his covenant with his children. He will not go back on his word. And that new covenant that the modern church so loves, but they do not understand, was given to who? The house of Israel. In Jeremiah 31, a new covenant YHVH made with the house of Israel, where YHVH did what? He put the Torah, his commandments, his laws, his statutes, not the Jews, but his Torah inside of us on our hearts, turning those dead rocks into living stones. And as I've taught, our God is a God of patterns, and we've seen that through the teachings. And there's a beautiful pattern here in Exodus where the Shabbat, it appears at the beginning, at the center, and at the end of Israel's journey to build the tabernacle. showing not only Israel but us that rest in YHVH is central to his dwelling with his people. You see, in the beginning, you had the manna falling for 6 days, a double portion on the 6th day. But on day 7, rest. This happens before the 10 Commandments. You see, Israel already knew, because they knew the Torah. They knew Genesis 2:3. And YHVH Barak blessed the 7th day and sanctified it because he rested. You see, they knew the 4th commandment, and they remembered it and honored it. The center at Mount Sinai, the Shabbat there becomes part of YHVH's covenant with all his people. And all means all, and that's all that all could mean. And all is everyone who follows the God of the Bible. And at the end, right after Moses gives Israel the detailed instructions of how YHVH wants his tabernacle made, YHVH emphasizes the Shabbat in Exodus 31. You shall keep my Shabbats. It is a sign between me and you. Who is it a sign for? Between God and you. Not your God and the Jews. It's the same God. There's only one God. Why, oh why must we cause division between YHVH's people? There's one God, one law, one Messiah, one tree, one people, one calling. And as we read these portions right here containing YHVH's commandments, once again, there are no Jews yet. Just a Hebrew nation consisting of the house of Israel and the house of Judah. The strangers, sojourners, aliens, Gentiles, and sinners saved by grace. YHVH's pattern, his word, has not changed. We have. Man has changed.
Yes.
To say that, well, the Jews, they cannot follow the law, so YHVH changed it, and now, because Yeshua died for us, the church, well, we're not under the law. What? Where's that at? You mean to tell me that my God broke his word? Nay, 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 my friends. My God's not a covenant-breaking God. Just because Israel broke their covenant with YHVH does not mean God changed. He cannot change. If he did, it would make our God a liar and our Messiah a false one. YHVH's word is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And when our Messiah said this, the Shabbat was made for man and not man for the Shabbat, he was not replacing his Father's commandment. He was actually teaching the Torah.
Yes.
The Shabbat was made so that man could learn to rest in YHVH through Yeshua.
Yes.
So that man could become YHVH's dwelling place. Shabbat's the cornerstone of YHVH's word. Do not reject the cornerstone, your foundation. It will be weak. So I'm going to summarize Exodus 38, 26, and 28. I'm not going to read it. I just want to summarize the key points and start our journey from dead rocks to living stones. A bakah for every man. That is a half shekel. For everyone that went to be numbered. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil. He made hooks for the pillars. These 3 verses right here excite me so much. They might not you, but let me explain, and maybe they'll excite you. How many people here and listening realize that our Bibles were not written in English in Kansas in 1850? This text was written in Hebrew in the Middle East almost 3,500 years ago, right? So can I get ancient Hebrew, Middle Eastern for a minute?
Yes.
And break these words down?
Yes. Yes.
You see, this half shekel silver coin of redemption we talked about last week, remember, was given with a willing heart from all that wanted to be numbered as YHVH's children, Israel. And the high priest, what would he do? He would melt them down and make the sockets, the fence posts, the pillars, and the hooks. And we learned last week those objects, they did what? They held the tabernacle together. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
Everybody with me? Okay, because here comes the excitement. And yes, it is exciting that YHVH melts us down and purifies us in the very fire that tried to consume us. I love it. And he uses us to hold his tabernacle together. It's so beautiful when you think about it. He puts us in the fire. And if you know, if I go through that fire, he's the potter, I'm the clay, and I'm going through that fire, and I come out and I got a blemish or I got a crack, you know what he does, Heather? He doesn't do what Jeff would do and take it, throw it down, and go to the Walmart and buy another one. I've told you before, maybe they haven't heard. That old Israeli potter, he'll grab that little piece of pottery, he'll see the crack or the blemish in it, and he'll grab a fasuka, old tick-like creature off of a lamb, and he'll apply the blood to that crack or that blemish. And he'll put it in the same fire that cracked it. And he'll patiently wait until that vessel comes out whole, where it's a vessel that can be used to take his living water to other people. And that's what he's doing with us. He keeps putting us back. And my wife has told me for years and years and years, Jeff, until you beat this, you'll never get past it. And that's what YHVH does to us. While me and you stay in a lot of our situations with Miss Ellie. But once we defeat that, and we can come through that fire that tried to consume us, we are now that vessel, Daniel, that can hold his living water so others can drink of us and our saucers will overfill. You see, these sockets that would hold the curtains together, these silver melted down coins of redemption, you know what that word means, sockets means in Hebrew? Why have I never looked this up, Daniel, till the other day? You know what it is? Eden, from the root word Adon, where we get Adonai. The sockets that hold the church together. Are you listening to what I'm saying? These sockets, we are Adonai's, our master's garden. He does dwell in us, right?
Yes.
Yes. And these hooks in Hebrew, somebody better get this. You know what that word hooks is? Vav. Nail. The nail that connects us. We should be that connecting valve. The hook not only holds, but is nailed down going nowhere. And the pillars are mud. But the root, and let me tell you, there's something about the root, Yeshua HaMashiach.
All right.
The root word is amad, meaning to stand and to remain. We'll stand where, Daniel? In our sanctuary, which is Kodesh, which is holy. And that veil, the root word for veil is perek, meaning to break apart. Listen to me now. I'm gonna put it all together, okay? Let's put it all together. You see, we need to stand. We need to remain. We need to be that pillar grounded to the root. We need to be that socket, that Eden, Adonai's garden for them to see, connected by that hook. The nails our Messiah took for us, hooking into others, being that connecting living stone. For we are Kodesh. We are holy in him, not of us, lest any man boast. Holy, connected in the garden, standing only because that sacrificial substitute, our Kabban Pasach, the Passover sacrifice, our Messiah. You see, Daniel, as he was nailed to the veil, it was broke apart. And he became our socket. Yeshua, our hook, our Messiah, the pillar for which we stand. His sanctuary now in us, even as that veil was torn. How beautiful. You want to know why Exodus, Shemot, names is my favorite book in the Bible? Do you really want to know?
Yes.
Because it describes my life. You see, maybe you don't, but I do. I remember being a dead rock in Mitzrayim, locked into sin, trials, and tribulations, building dead structures, no hope in sight. And then a childhood friend, a half-shekel silver coin of redemption, melted down attachment, told me about this Jesus. How excited I was. I was 15, and man, I dove in hard. Before I knew it, I was preaching on you Sunday at 17. But as with Israel, Egypt changed. You see, we often forget that there was a time that Egypt was prosperous to Israel. Joseph was second in command. He saved Egypt. Egypt was good to Israel. But Egypt changed. God didn't. Joseph died. There was a new Pharaoh, one who did not honor Joseph's deeds, nor the God of Israel, who was in command. And as Egypt changed, Israel followed. As Egypt changed, so did my world. You see, I fell in love with slow pitch softball. I won my share of world championships, but I lost who I was. Once again, I was a dead rock. I didn't forget God just as Israel didn't, per se. I just forgot who I was. As I was being that dead stone, as Israel was, them building dead structures, I was out there building the world, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But Heather, pop test for you. What was that great attribute I said our God has? He will not, he cannot break his word nor his covenant with his children. And he had one with me, and he had one with Israel. And so YHVH, with a mighty hand and outstretched arms, he delivered us out of Egypt. We were no longer dead rocks. As a matter of fact, we drank out of a living rock, and I will never, never, never thirst again. But it wasn't easy. As with Israel, nor me, we struggled. Lots of time we spent in the desert. But you know what, Vicky? He fed me manna. He gave me water. He protected me as he led me. Neither me nor Israel knew where we were going. We just went. Not dead rocks, not building dead structures. We just went. We didn't know who we were. And then as YHVH was making my bitter water sweet, it hit me. I didn't know who I was, Daniel. And I'm sure Israel had that same thought when they was walking through the desert and they were in Egypt for those 400 years. They did not know who they were. And YHVH sent a man who kept saying, remember my Shabbat. What? I didn't even know I was supposed to keep it. But as I listened to that man, YHVH spoke to me. Do you not remember you were a slave in Egypt, and how I with my mighty hand and outstretched arm delivered you? Did my son not shed his blood for your atonement? Redemption is yours. It's free for a willing heart. I'm so glad I was willing. You see, the years of pain, hurt, sin, disgust left me. I knew my identity, just as Israel did. YHVH took my half-shekel silver coin of redemption, melted it down, and said, now you hold them with my materials, a living sanctuary in you. Be that curious light, drawing Israel back home. Guys, that's what we're supposed to be doing, trying to get Israel back home. You see, I was no longer a dead rock. I was a living stone, placed on the ephod of my high priest, Yeshua HaMashiach. That's where Israel is right now at the end of Exodus. Dead rocks made living stones, no longer building dead, lifeless structures, but building a living, moving, breathing tabernacle where our God dwells with us. No longer am I holding a bar together, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Man, that stuff is gone. I'm not that anymore. I'm not that bouncer or that bartender. I'm a silver half-shekel melted down attachment, helping hold our God's people together. The same people I used to tear down what they would build. And now I'm holding it together. Is that not beautiful? Vahak'Hel means, and he assembled. And he sure did. You see, I couldn't. But I had that willing heart. And I terumed, I lifted him up. And he delivered me. It's why I do Shabbat. Deuteronomy 5:15. You see, I do remember being a slave to the world and sin. And I do remember him delivering me with his mighty hand and his outstretched arm. And all he asked was one simple thing, Jennifer. Keep my Shabbat. Did you know that 12 times in Exodus, YHVH tells Moses, tell my people, keep my Shabbat? 12 times. 12, the number of completeness. 12 tribes, 12 apostles, 12 gates in New Jerusalem. YHVH also 12 times in the Old Testament said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You see, YHVH has patterns, and Shabbat was his first pattern. And his commandments, if you love me, do them. Numbers mean something biblically, and we overlook it. We see patterns of numbers all throughout the Bible. You see it here with the number 12. YHVH, he gave us 10 commandments, the number of divine order. In this book, we see what? The 10 plagues of Exodus. Definitely divine order there, as YHVH put Egypt's gods in their place. We see the 10 virgins, lessons on bride or the wedding guest. Divine order. And then we see the 11 curtains of goat hairs that cover the tabernacle. 11 being disorder and chaos. Just falling short of that number 12 of perfection. But our God, he is perfect. He gave us his 10 commandments, his divine order. And he knew we would be us. So he placed 11 curtains of goat hair, humility, to cover us so that we can make it. Nerd time here, okay? Did you know this, Daniel? I bet you didn't. 24 times the phrase blue, purple, scarlet, and white is used in Exodus. 24 times. 24 represents priesthood of YHVH's people. Are we not supposed to be a priesthood? Are we not supposed to be royal priesthood of YHVH? Think about it. This week we have a double portion, right? Yeah. And Moses starts out with Shabbat. It is a sign between you and YHVH. 12 times, remember my Shabbat. 12 times, if you love me, keep my commandments. 24 times, white, be born again, cleansed by the water. Scarlet, covered by the blood. Purple, we are royalty. We are the virgin bride. To the prince of princes, blue. We are invited to a wedding in the garden. A double portion, Heather, of blessings when you keep YHVH Shabbat and keep his commandments. Now count with me. 10, keep YHVH's commandments. 11, with humility, for we needed that Korban Pesach, that Passover sacrifice, that substitute. 12, honor and remember my Shabbat. It's a double blessing. And how does one go from dead rocks to living stones? By following YHVH's pattern. Come out of Egypt, but get Egypt out of you. Build with his materials. Be that curious light. And most definitely be that half-shekel silver, melted down coin of redemption attachment, holding Israel together. For it's time that we assemble his tabernacle now. We have all the materials. We know what to do. We know what we must do. For there will be a day of accountability on what we did and what we did not do. And as I was telling Rabbi Rose when we was doing Kiddush, I think a lot of us, our biggest curse when we stand before YHVH is when he shows us the blessings that we missed because we did not do what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I say do the verse and avoid the curse. Observe all YHVH's commandments and get those blessings YHVH has promised us. And honestly, it's blessing enough for me to know that my God is resting with me on his day. He's set apart for his children. So it's time that we crush those dead rocks and be a living, precious stone, covering YHVH's heart. And watch this, YHVH will move in your life. And when he does, move. So let's teruma and lift YHVH's name up and let Shamayim, heaven, hear us. On three, say Shabbat Shalom with me. 1, 2, 3. Shabbat Shalom.